Welcome back, everyone. I am working today on some multimedia artboard, and it's a wonderful surface for us to be able to work on in oil and cold wax, as well as acrylic or water media. It does not need to be gessoed. It already has everything in it that you need, so it is archival. And it comes in these packages in many different sizes, from about a 5 by 7 all the way up to a 30 by 40. And I wanted to show you today how the multimedia artboard reacts to painting with oil and cold wax. What I like to do is to tape the edge with some of the 3M low adhesive tape. You can use the blue tape. You can buy a white artist tape if the blue color bothers you at all when you're painting. But when I tape my edges, I like to use the edge of a brush or one of your tools that we use and just press the edges in the hopes that the paint will not seep underneath, although sometimes it still does. And that's okay too, but it gives you a nice crisp edge when you are finished with your painting. So the multimedia board handles just about every type of application that we use on our cradled panels and on the Arches oil paper. So I'm going to start today by just doing some mark making with the Marabu Mixed Media Art Crayons. And that's fun sometimes to just quickly put something on your board, your paper, so that you're not starting with just, you know, a blank sheet of paper staring at you or a blank canvas or panel staring at you. Go ahead and put something on that fairly quickly so you can dive into your painting. And you can put a little bit of clear cold wax over that, although you do not have to, because the Marabu Art Crayon sets up beautifully on its own. And you can see it might bleed just a little, but not very much at all. And once it's dry, it is set. So I've got to start, and I am just going to start covering this board. And my paint is already mixed with my cold wax. I just about always use a 50-50 ratio of wax to paint. So if you go ahead and mix your wax and your paint on your palette, you won't forget to put the wax in, which is easy to do when you are really working on a painting and you're very concentrated on what you are doing. And I'm going to mix a little bit of the warm white and show you how to put the wax in according to about how much of the oil paint that you put out. You then put about that amount of cold wax, and then it's like making frosting. It's wonderful, and it changes from a glossy to a matte finish when you put the wax in. And if it's still a little glossy, you may have not gotten a full amount of 50-50, so you just mix a little more. And I wanted you to see how I am mixing wax with every color of paint that I use. It's fun to just play and experiment by putting different colors down and just watch what speaks to you. As you push and pull the painting further, and you can scrape your blue tape back so you see where that painting is. You can also scratch back to let some of that undercolor show through as you're painting on the mixed media board. The Gamsol also will lift back and let you see what you had underneath. So all the same techniques that you use on your cradled panels, you can use on your multimedia artboard. I'm just picking up different colors that I have already mixed with the wax from my palette, just to see, you know, playing with shapes. Always remember to give yourself that permission to just play. You can still see some of the Marabu Art Crayon showing through. And sometimes it's good to turn your painting as you're working. This is very wet, so you can let it dry in between stages and come back to it. We always say that most paintings go through an ugly stage, and they do. And so you keep pushing through that. Until you achieve at a painting that you are happy with. And remember, if you don't like something, you can actually lift it all the way back to the first layer and the mark making that you did. So you've got a lot of leeway to play and see where you want to take these pieces. This coat I am putting on a little thicker. Just continuing to play with the shapes. And the Gamsol spritz, you let it sit for just a few seconds. pick up some of that warmth that's underneath. You can press your Messermeister scraper down in and achieve some beautiful lines. So even though this piece is still wet and I will probably continue working on it, I'm going to pull the tape so you can see how the edge looks. And if you let them set up for a little while, you're not as likely to have paint get on the white area. So this may be a challenge where it is so thick and wet, but we will see what we have. It's like the big reveal. It's always fun. Sometimes they surprise you. So there you have a small piece of work. And once it has dried and set up a little bit, you can continue to keep working back into it just as much as you would like. If you do a lot of work, you can even retape the edges. Add a little bit of that Asimic writing back in where I scraped it out. But they're fun ways to do small pieces of work on a different substrate than your cradled panels, and you can mat into the image. This is a piece that I had completed and actually put a mat around. And let me show you this. You can put a mat around them so they can actually be framed under glass. Just another fun way of working in oil and cold wax. Thanks everyone. Hope you enjoyed the video.